Tricia? Nope, nothing. Okay. Good evening, council and staff. Welcome to this evening's Committee of Adjustment for May 25th, 2021. We are live streaming this on our YouTube channel under the Town of Greater Napanee. Also, if you wish to follow the agenda, it is on our website at townofgreaternapanee.com. With that, I'll call the meeting to order. I need an adoption of the agenda as presented, please. Moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded by Councillor McCormack. All in favor of that motion? Motion is carried. Thank you. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? Seeing none. I need a motion for the adoption of the minutes as presented, please, for May the 11th, 2021. Moved by Deputy Mayor Kaiser, seconded by Councillor Richardson. Comments or questions? If not, all in favor of the motion. The motion is carried. Land severance application 5.1. Land severance application PLCOR 2021-026. F and K Penner 6867 County Road 9 Southside. Legal description concession 3 part lot 12 North Fredericksburgh. Michael, is there anything that we need to look at or that you'd like to point out in this application?
Thank you, Your Worship. This application, number 5.1 in the agenda, as well as item 5.2, are both applications by the same property owner to sever two residential lots from a larger landholding on the south side of County Road 9, just a short jog to the west of the intersection with Ambly Road. The applications are fairly standard. Staff did note that the proposed two lots are in fairly close proximity to several other residential properties in the proximity. And based on Conservation Authority comment, it's recommended, staff are recommending to the committee that a hydrogeological report be submitted in support of the two lots to ensure that no adverse impacts are going to be felt at the neighboring properties. So with two additional lots in close proximity to other residential lands, there is a possibility of there being adverse impacts from a groundwater resources perspective. So it's recommended that that condition be added. The remaining conditions are standard, but the only additional condition that I'd like to point out is the hydrogeological report that staff are recommending.
Which council is number 3. Yeah, Deputy Mayor Kaiser.
Yeah, I mean, knowing that, thank you, Your Worship, knowing that that area has about 4 inches of dirt over the rock, nobody there, they probably, if they're dug wells, they're probably hammered into the rock. Would a drilled well not, and I don't know, do other properties have drilled wells there? I know the property fairly well, but there isn't much dirt there for a surface well anyways.
Mm-hmm. Staff aren't aware of what the neighboring properties' wells are, if they're dug or if they're drilled. This condition comes from Quinte Conservation Authority has a hydrogeologist on staff, and what they recommend is whenever there are lots in close proximity such as this, regardless of the type of well, that a hydro-G study be completed to confirm that there won't be any adverse impacts. So if it's not a concern for the committee, that condition can be removed. It's just something that staff flagged as a possible concern. I mean, we could limit the well to being certainly a drilled well. We could remove the possibility of being a dug well if that would address any concerns of the committee as well.
Just if I may, a follow-up. What is the likely or typical financial impact to the applicant for doing a hydro study in this scenario?
Through Your Worship. So staff, of course, reached out to the applicant and advised them that staff would be recommending this condition. And so they took it upon themselves to reach out to a couple of consultants in the area, and it's in the $3,000 to $4,000 range. So it was a palatable amount to them. They didn't
Okay,
object.
I'm good.
Ultimately.
Okay, good to know. Good to hear.
Yeah. Councillor Johnson?
Thank you, Mayor. I think following the discussions that was held at the Quinte Conservation Board meeting, not the previous one, but a couple of meetings ago, there are numerous municipalities who are experiencing concerns as more and more farmland or agricultural land or even just treed land is being made available for sale to the public, and the people who already live on those streets are expressing more and more concern about the limited amount of water and the fracturing that happens in the stone. And I think you will see more of these recommendations coming forward. I don't know about this particular spot, whether it's required or not. Just erring on the side of caution. They're hearing from multiple municipalities that this is a concern to residents as we become more populated in our rural areas.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Johnson. Anything further from council? No? So, Michael, I guess what Councillor Johnson is saying is right, in that the more and more places that we build out there, the harder it makes for people to have water. Normally, if we would be in a meeting room in normal times, I would be asking if there's anyone here speaking for or anyone here speaking against. Did we have any neighboring properties that have expressed a worry on this?
No, Your Worship, we've not received any worrisome comments.
Okay. So I guess maybe that gives us a go ahead. Council, you do have before you a recommendation. What are your wishes? Councillor Richardson?
Yeah, I'm good with the staff recommendation, Your Worship. I'll move that.
Okay. Staff recommendation with the hydrogeological study remaining in. Okay, thank you. Moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded, Councillor Johnson. Moved by Councillor Richardson, seconded by Councillor Norrie. All in favor of the motion. Motion is carried. Thank you. 5.2 land severance application PLCOR 2021-027. Same applicant, different lot that they want to create, but still leaving the hydrogeological study in. Anything different, Michael, that we should speak to on this one?
No, Your Worship. No, nothing additional that staff would like to point out.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Kaiser? Yeah, move staff recommendation. Okay, seconded by Councillor McCormack. Any further comments or questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you. 5.3 land severance application PLCOR 2021-028. J&T Cammaart 2577 County Road 41 North End. Legal description, concession 7 lot 22 in Richmond. Michael, anything that we need to look at or go over with this one?
Thank you, Your Worship. So this is to create a larger sized lot, albeit smaller than the minimum that we would require for not requiring the installation of a well. So it's intended for residential purposes, and it is in the vicinity of several other residential properties. It's proposed to be just south of Clara Street, which is fairly heavily populated. So Quinte Conservation Authority's comments were that the municipality should consider a hydrogeological study, and staff do concur with the Conservation Authority in that sense. So similar to the previous applications, the conditions are essentially the same, inclusive of the requirement for a hydrogeological study for this lot as well.
Okay. And again, because we're normally anyone speaking for, anyone speaking against, did we receive any comments from neighboring properties regarding this application?
No, Your Worship, we did not. And I would just like to point out too that this would be the second of 2 severances that this property would be permitted to have. So this would max out the lot from a severance perspective.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor Kaiser?
Thank you, Your Worship. Michael, I know you considered MDS setbacks from the neighboring buildings. Were the neighboring property owners consulted at all? I know Seal's right across the road, but he uses that for hay storage.
Yes,
No concern.
Correct. You were through you, Your Worship. The property directly across the road, the old barn on the property is actually on a lot that's too small that would be permitted to house livestock now. So it's being used for storage purposes. So it was not a concern from an MDS perspective.
And I had a second question, which was and this is more a comment than a question. The county really didn't comment much as far as entrance permits, other than they would cite them later at a later time. But in the proximity of Clara Street and with the amount of traffic right there, and then of course, not very far to the north is
Centerville Road.
Centerville Road. Thank you. I had Clarington in my head, but anyways, should we be concerned at all about the proximity of a driveway to other roads and other things on that busy stretch of 41? I mean, the visibility is excellent, but
through Your Worship, again, when it comes to county road, staff do defer to the county for comment on proposed entrances in proximity to existing entrances and other roads. With the size of the lot being what is proposed, there appears to be a fairly decent separation distance between the intersection of Clara Street and any proposed additional driveway on the property. So I do know that the county did review that in detail, so they did not have a concern, and staff don't have a concern as a result of those discussions with the county.
Okay, thank you. Anything further from council? If not, you have a recommendation before you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Kaiser, seconded by Councillor Johnson. If there are no further comments or questions, all in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you. Motion for adjournment. Councillor McCormack, Deputy Mayor Kaiser, all in favor of that motion? Motion is carried. See everyone shortly in the regular session of council. Thank you.